Good evening and welcome to Source 16 News at 10. Well, many of you are preparing to retire for the evening, but before you do, there's still some potentially dangerous weather that could sweep across western Kentucky. For the latest, here is meteorologist David Bryant. David?
Well, Tim, we're continuing to see waves of strong to severe thunderstorms work across the area. And although the thunderstorm or the tornado watch officially was going to expire at 10 o'clock, it's likely to see that extended as we go through the latter portion of the evening into the overnight hours. Also, flash flood warnings in effect for all of the Source 16 viewing area as we go through the overnight as well through the early morning hours, and that flash flood watch in effect all the way through tomorrow evening. Now, once we get this round of severe weather through tonight, this is what it looks like for tomorrow. Notice most all of Kentucky, much of Tennessee under a moderate risk of severe weather as we go through the day tomorrow. We're going to have a very strong area of low pressure moving in from the west, and once again we'll see the chance for some tornadoes, for some large hail damaging winds, and again some more heavy rain before all this pushes out of the area. By tomorrow night, it looks like could see a lingering shower on into early Thursday, but for the most part that should gradually diminish. Here's what we've got on the radar, and you can see that heavier rain continuing to work into western Kentucky with some of these storms potentially turning strong to severe as we go through the rest of the evening into the overnight hours. So of course we'll be here continuing to watch this, and I'll have more coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes. Tammy?
Thanks, David. And while I'm updating you on some early storm reports coming into the news center, you can see the intense lightning in North Christian County. And of course, keep in mind this video is shot about 12 miles away, so you can imagine the intensity in that area. We've received a report from the Christian County weather spotters of an unconfirmed tornado on the ground in the Morton's Gap area of Hopkins County that occurred around 9:15 this evening. In Benton and Fair Dealing in Marshall County, there were reports of 1-inch hail. A funnel cloud was reported around 8:05 this evening, 2 miles north of Cobb in Caldwell County. Around 8:16 this evening, a trained weather spotter reported a funnel cloud in the Bainbridge Road area in northwestern Christian County. At 8:35, law enforcement reported hail of an inch and a half in Princeton, and law enforcement in Hopkins County reported golf ball size hail or 1 1/4 inch hail between Dawson Springs and Nortonville. As of news time, we had not received any reports of injuries or structural damages from these storms. We'll have another check of the weather coming up in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, storms last night that went across the viewing area downed hundreds of trees, power lines, and utility poles, as well as causing some structural damage in Callaway County. Reports out of Callaway County indicate 2 barns were blown down. The roof of Murray Home and Auto was partially ripped off. A section of wall at the Pillow Window Factory was blown out, and hundreds of trees and utility poles were blown down. And New Wave Communications in Murray also experienced some damage.
So we're following in right behind the power companies as they restore services in the neighborhoods. And right now, you know, we're about 70% restored, and then we have you know, pockets of town in which we've got some cable that's down due to trees being on lines, things of that nature. But you know, we're coming along. We experienced most of the damage in Murray. There were little pockets of cable lines at homes down in Mayfield and Benton.
Murray's Mayor Bill Wells was out of the office this afternoon, but his staff told Source 16 Murray and Callaway County got hit pretty hard overnight. Officials say the mayor will be going around the county tomorrow with Congressman Ed Whitfield and representatives of the governor's office to survey the damage. Meanwhile, in Christian County, street and utility crews were busy early this morning cleaning up downed trees and utility poles and lines. Mineral Electric spokesman Brent Gilkey told Source 16 there were 7,200 customers in the 9-county district without electricity immediately after the storm. And as of earlier this evening, 673 customers were still without power. Christian County Weather Coordinator David Powell reports at the peak of the storm, one of the spotter units measured wind speeds of 88.8 miles per hour just after midnight this morning. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet also received damage reports that closed several roads across western Kentucky, specifically in Christian, Caldwell, Graves, and Callaway counties. Motorists should continue to use caution as you travel around the area this evening as numerous roads remain closed. And if you come across storm debris that is blocking a roadway, report it to your local 911 call center. Motorists will also need to use extreme caution due to flooded roads. Remember, turn around, don't drown. Severe thunderstorms overnight damaged several locations at Land Between the Lakes National Recreation Area. LBL officials say Swift and Staley maintenance crew worked through the night to clear roads of downed trees and other debris. Turkey Bay off-highway vehicle area and Energy Dam remain temporarily closed due to the recent large amounts of rainfall. Energy Lake Campground is only accessible via Road 134 from US 6880 at this time due to water over the road. The Home Place and South Welcome Station were closed today due to a power outage. Wrangler's Campground and riding stables will be closed until further notice while crews repair major damage to that area. Road 165 South between Golden Pond Visitor Center and Wrangler's Campground is closed indefinitely due to impassable conditions. Piney, Energy Lake, and Rushing Creek campgrounds are without power at this time. LBL officials report all roads within the park potentially will have hazards, downed limbs, washed out culverts, etc. from Golden Pond Visitor Center south. All visitors are urged to use extreme caution due to possible flooding and debris from last night's storm. New this hour, details have not been released, but traffic was snarled and had to be rerouted on Fort Campbell Boulevard for several hours this afternoon and this evening after a semi overturned. Emergency officials responded to the 8 and 9 mile marker near the Masonville overpass of Fort Campbell Boulevard around 2:10 after a semi hauling granular graphite overturned and snapped some utility poles and knocked down some power lines. The southbound lanes of the boulevard were closed and motorists were detoured via the Pinaraw Parkway to Interstate 24 while electric crews worked to repair power lines and replace utility poles. Emergency officials report the southbound lanes were reopened just about 45 minutes ago. A popular landmark in Oak Grove Steakhouse was destroyed by fire last night. Smoke and fire filled the night sky and were visible blocks away as firefighters from Herndon, Oak Grove, and Fort Campbell battled the blaze at Charlie's Steakhouse located at 14850 Fort Campbell Boulevard. According to Oak Grove Deputy Fire Chief Bill Johnson, the fire started near the kitchen area, spread into the attic, and then the entire building. Johnson says when firefighters arrived on the scene around 9:20 last night, the fire was already in the attic. When they tried to make entry through the front door, he says firefighters had to leave because the roof was unsafe. The deputy fire chief says no one was injured as a result of the fire and foul play is not a factor at this time, but the fire is still being investigated. Red Cross officials were also on the scene providing assistance to firefighters. As of 2 o'clock this morning, firefighters remained on the scene. Meanwhile, firefighters fought a house fire in Madisonville yesterday morning. Madisonville Fire Chief Stephen Stoltz says 7 units responded to the home of Seth Carroll at 1111 West Noel Avenue around 9:50 Monday morning, where firefighters observed light smoke coming from the home upon their arrival. The homeowner then advised fire officials that all occupants were out of the structure. Firefighters started positive pressure ventilation and made entry into the structure while another crew secured all utilities. According to Chief Stoltz, the cause of the fire was determined to be an electrical malfunction with the clothes dryer. Firefighters cleared the scene around 11:20 after deeming the home safe and releasing it to the homeowner. 8 Hopkinsville residents were arrested for drug trafficking after police found about 20 pounds of pot and cash at 2 separate homes. During an ongoing investigation, investigators from the Christian County Sheriff's Department Narcotics and Canine Divisions and a U.S. Postal Inspector received enough information to secure search warrants for 208 South Cleveland Avenue and 327 West Edmond Street. The warrants were served simultaneously with the help of Hopkinsville Police's Special Investigation Unit, the Pinaraw Narcotics Task Force, and the Christian County Jail. During the search, the Sheriff's Department canine units alerted on 2 compressed bricks of marijuana weighing about 10 pounds each, wrapped in U.S. postal packaging, along with an undisclosed amount of cash. Police arrested 36-year-old Rosa Escamilla of 208 South Cleveland Avenue, 28-year-old Blanca Serafin, 28-year-old Gracela Camarillo, 34-year-old Jose Zavala, 22-year-old Octavio Zavala, 25-year-old Jose Reyes, 28-year-old Efrain Zavala, and 53-year-old Efrain Rodriguez, all of 327 West Edmond Street. All the individuals are charged with trafficking marijuana over 5 pounds and booked into the Christian County Jail. Christian County Fiscal Court unanimously approved a second reading of an ordinance regulating the collection of fire subscriber fees and membership dues for 14 local volunteer fire departments. The annual volunteer fee, which ranges from $25 to $50, will now appear on property tax bills. Cerulean Volunteer Fire Chief Denise Brashears asked Fiscal Court to include her department in the ordinance since it provides services to over 200 Christian County homes.
We have approximately 225 people that we service in that area. 90 of those pay their dues. Just to show you how many people don't pay fire dues until they need the fire department. I hate it that y'all have not included Cerulean Fire Department in this process.
According to Brashears, the department is going to bill the homeowners $500 for their services if the dues are not added to the property tax bill.
In 2009, we had 28, our department had 28 runs. 6 of those were in Christian County. In 2010, we had 39 runs, with 15 of those being in Christian County. We do not discriminate. We love everybody all the same.
Judge Executive Steve Tribble told Brashears he will take her request under consideration. In other action, Fiscal Court approved a bid worth over $268,000 to purchase a multi-purpose excavator from Southeastern Equipment and Company. The next Fiscal Court meeting is scheduled for the morning of May 10th at 11:30. Taking a look at tonight's Mega Millions jackpot, it's up to $29 million, and Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $20 million.